lots of protests going on, and these protests are great. There's a lot of energy in them. However, a problem is that people tend to go to the protests, express some anger, express themselves for a short period of time, and then just go home without anything long-term being planned or anything sustainable coming out of the protests. So a good idea for trying to get something more sustainable out of these protests is to start an impromptu General Assembly at the protests. General Assemblies are just outdoor meetings where anyone can join in. At these General Assemblies, the primary goal should be to help each other exchange details and basically get people to agree to continue planning with each other and keep in contact and notify each other of actions or help each other create ideas for community organising. Here are some ideas for preparing a General Assembly. Firstly, bring a tarp. This is a large sheet of plastic which people can sit on. It stops their bums getting wet. Secondly, bring a megaphone so that people can hear you. It might be loud outside, there might be lots of noise, so it's good to have a megaphone handy. Thirdly, bring a clipboard or notepad so that you can record people's emails. Also, you'll want to take notes from the meeting. Fourthly, if you can, bring some kind of sign which state the rules of an assembly. Fifthly, you preferably want a couple of friends with you who can help you facilitate the meeting. There are two options. You can firstly just lay down the tarp on the ground and just start sitting and talking with your friends. Or secondly, you can announce a proper assembly. You can speak into the megaphone and tell people, I hereby announce a General Assembly to talk about the political situation and solutions we can take forward. Ideally, you don't want over 30 people at the assembly, but at a maximum you want 50 people, and if it's any bigger than 50 you need to, it's a very good idea to think about splitting it up. A good way to start is to lay some ground rules. The first thing you can do is you can explain some hand signals that you'll be using to help the meeting run smoothly. Put up one finger to say I've got a point I'd like to make. 2 fingers up for if you've got a direct point, which is usually answering a question someone's just asked. Usually this just means that the conversation can't continue without this point being made. A third signal you might give is you might explain is that you might do the hurry hands if somebody's talking for too long. Fourthly, you can explain that people can wave their hands up in the air if they agree strongly with something someone's saying, or they can wave their hands down low if they are concerned or don't like the sound of something someone's saying. They're not enthusiastic about something someone's saying. You can also put your hands across your chest in a cross as a block. This mean if any agreements are being made, you don't want to be part of that agreement. Also, you can make a T sign with your hands. That means technical point. That means if somebody doesn't understand a word that's being used, they can ask for that word to be explained, or there might be a different technical point. For example, the police might be asking you to move on, or they might be coming around the corner. And also you want to explain that if there are any threats or extremely offensive statements such as racism or sexism, that you will ask anyone making such statements to leave the conversation, leave the assembly, so that it's a safe environment for everyone. Also, if drunk people are coming in, generally people prefer drunk, disruptive people to be taken away from the assembly. A good idea is to start with a go round where you ask everyone what their feeling is about the protest or why they're there, and what they'd like to see happen in the future, what they'd like to come out of the day's events. When you facilitate meetings, you usually have three aims. One is to help the participants in the meeting achieve the aim of the meeting. The second goal for a facilitator is to ensure that everyone gets a chance to express themselves during the meeting and it's not just dominated by one or two people. And a third aim for any facilitator is to ensure that the meeting gets finished on time so that it doesn't go on forever. If somebody goes on and on, you can give them a hurry hands or you can interrupt them. A good technique when somebody's talking very enthusiastically about something is to say, oh, that point you're making is very interesting, and repeat back to them what they're talking about so they feel like you are listening to them and you appreciate what they're saying. And then say, however, it'll be good if we can hear the next person speak. A co-facilitator is someone who helps you conduct the meeting, for example, getting rid of drunk people for you. Co-facilitators can do things like minute taking, they can take notes, they can pass around a megaphone for you if you need to all use a megaphone. They can point out that people have their hands up if you don't see someone with their hand up, so they can help you stacking. Once the go around is done, people can split into different groups based on either location or on interests. For example, some might be interested in direct actions more, or some might be interested in workplace organising, or some might be interested in other forms of alternative institution building or other types of action. It's good if people can organise things at the meeting, if they can organise at the General Assembly, but in general things take a long time to organise. So you need to make sure people exchange email addresses or other contact details and agree to keep in contact and keep planning with each other.